Welcome back to JCL Investing, and we're going to get straight into it. So I'm on a long-term investing challenge, as many of you know, and for those of you that are new viewers, here is the summary. It's a 2020 to 2050 challenge. Goal is to get £1 million after the 30 years. We start off with the review of the performance of what I call the quality companies in the portfolio as of the previous month. And the transparency here is complete. You'll see the total return of every single holding, including the bad ones. Bank OZK, almost £2,500 in that holding, one of the largest in the portfolio. Had a very good month in July, up 22 percentage points. So that's around about 100% return. I will continue to hold. Williams Sonoma also edged up around 20%. I say edged up, that's a pretty good month. And that's been a very good holding that I will continue to hold. Skyworks Solutions up 5 points. Pretty happy with that holding in the portfolio. And Google had quite a negative month, at least its market price down 14%, but still up 17% in total. I think I'd be overpaying if I bought some more now, but it is a position I'd like to have probably double the size that it is now. The same applies to Visa. I'd probably like to have a double size position than that, so I'm going to have a look at that one again just to make sure I'm not overpaying. And if that's the case, then I'll add to that position. 2% seems a bit underweight for the quality of the company. Dropbox up 5 points, so hasn't moved much in aggregate, although the price has been relatively volatile since I've held it. And a good month for Rightmove there, one of my newest holdings. And Unilever, one of those what you might call steady eddies. It's a dividend stock, tends to be very stable in price terms, but had a very good month last month, and 133% that has returned from me. And we get to the smaller holdings now in that quality company section. Adobe, not much change in month there. Elevance Health down slightly. Now American Express, amazing, up 19%, 172% in 4 years, and I'd love to have a bigger position there, but certainly there's an argument that one might be overpaying at the current market price. Same for Meta as well, they're down 11% there. And Berkshire Hathaway, very solid indeed. Fortinet, in July that was down, although of course the August position when that comes out is likely to be significantly better, so stay tuned for that in the next update. And CGI had a good month, so back in the green on that one. Somero, level in month, and no change on InMode. Takes me to the dividend part of my portfolio. So I don't have many dividend stocks. I only buy them if they're significantly undervalued, because then there is actually a chance for a 10% a year return. So Unum was bought at price to book of below 0.4. And then in 4 years, it's now up 200% for a very, you might call a boring holding, up 29 points last month. My biggest holding, my first stock position that has reached, or individual holding that's reached £3,000. So I'm really delighted with this. 6% of the portfolio. Not planning to add more to that. I think it is around book value. So yeah, a very good, boring long-term hold there. Aviva. Kind of in a similar category, although not quite as good as Unum, but that's been a good turn. And Legal and General there as well, a good dividend holding. Investec, fantastic total percentage term and month change, but it was a smaller starting position, but that's approaching £1,000. Citigroup just edged up, but yeah, about 1% of the portfolio there. And plus 500 continues to perform well, up 72 points there. British American Tobacco, very good month indeed. That concludes the dividend part of the portfolio. So we're now on to the managed by others holding, because I could certainly make mistakes in my picks. So I do want some index holdings, particularly when there aren't any stocks that I would consider a fair price, or at least not overpaying. So I want to put some of that money into indexes and a couple of very particular managed funds, rather than it sitting there massively in cash. I'm adding to Terry Smith here, his Fund Smith fund, his main one every month. That is approaching £3,000. FTSE 100 up 60%, which is pretty good, certainly compared to some of the holdings you'll see later in the video. No change at all in the Linsell Train Fund. And then we're just on to the other indexes now. Good month for that FTSE 250. US index broadly level in month, but over 50% back total. World index approaching £1,000 in size. S&P 500 broadly the same. And we'll just flip through these so you can see what's happened, but nothing particularly. So on to the cyclical part of the portfolio. Very small part of the portfolio, but tactical plays in cyclical industries where there's an opportunity. And you can see the opportunity in Alphabet Resources. I've booked a lot of profit already. There's still a 620% total return on the remaining quarter of the original holding that I've got there. Intel continues to disappoint, at least its market price performance and also its results, but is there a cyclical opportunity? Something I am looking at closely. Bitcoin edged down, as did the Ethereum holding. And then we've got, Altasource, less said about that, the better. I did have a couple of holdings before I implemented my current strategy. I'll just go through those now. So Alibaba, I've been kind of chipping off that every couple of months to reduce my exposure there. But that's, down to almost £1,000 now. Corsair position is much smaller. I did sell some of that position just before their last results, thankfully. That's only £250 now. So the argument there is probably just to sell that and get that off the table. Cumulus has been poor. And then we've got the two very bad ones indeed that are displayed. A good shout out to those in the Patreon supporters group. Support is certainly appreciated. And if you want to talk about your portfolio, of course, we can't give you personalised advice, but we can talk generally about the market, investing strategies, learnings, and so on. You're very welcome to join the group, and we would love to have you there. Now, the big part is I've got this long-term plan. I need to be tracking my progress against that plan. So compared to last month, the portfolio was about 53.5. At the end of the previous month, then it's essentially 55,000, which is larger than my 2024 year-end target to be on track with the run rate. Now, the further ahead of that I can get early on, the better, because it means that run rate then starts dropping below 10%. Now, compared to the last month, the increase of about 1,500 in value, a third of that was due to the deposit. I put 500 in against a minimum of 300, but there's also almost £1,000 increase in performance, whether that be value of the stocks or indeed dividends received. So a very good month. So that means I need 9.53% per year, every year, between now and 2050 if I do that minimum £300 deposit a month. So edging that one down, get started at 10%. That's the breakdown of the portfolio if you're interested. Certainly too much cash would be my general observation, as I have said a lot recently. But I need to find those quality companies that I'm not overpaying for, and probably a little bit more is going to go into the managed fund in the coming months just to maximise returns. One doesn't want to have too much cash. You're going to miss out on the best days of the market, which is where a lot of the return comes from. Transactions, as mentioned, I have sold quite a lot of that Corsair position, probably 2/3 of that position in one of my brokerage accounts. There's just a little bit left over in a couple of the others, which I will be selling, I think. There's no point holding that now at that value. And the usual monthly addition to Fundsmith and the World Index. That's all. No individual stock positions added. But that may well change in the coming months, but I'm certainly not in a rush because I want to make the right moves rather than making lots of little small moves. There we go. So glad you made it to the end. Do comment below if you made it to the end and you've got some ideas about what to invest in. I want to hear ideas. Share it with the community. And I'll see you on the next one.